The prophet Ezekiel in our first reading said, "Hear now, house of Israel, is it my way that is unfair? Or rather, are not your ways unfair?" On this Respect Life Sunday, the prophet Ezekiel could be speaking to us right now. We are living in a world where disorder is reigning, R-E-I-G-N, reigning like ruling, and also raining, R-A-I-N, like a thunderstorm. Since 1973, there have been over 63 million abortions in the United States. Mother Teresa said, "If a mother can kill her own child, what is left to be lost?" Pope Francis defined our culture as a throwaway culture, and he was not talking about plastic products. He was talking about human life, and that we just throw it away, and we don't see the dignity and the value and the greatness of having been created in the image and the likeness of God, and what a gift it is to have being, to have life, and that life is good and to be celebrated, and that we have forgotten all of that, and we just throw it away. How did we get to this throwaway culture in our world? Satan, the prince of this world, has sown lies. We have to stand up to those lies of this world. Being a Christian does not mean we are perfect and that we condemn everybody else, but rather it is the embrace of the reality that there are God's standards and that we fall short of those standards. And when we fall short of God's standards, we don't change the standard. We rise up to the standard. Archbishop Fulton Sheen said, "If you don't behave as you believe, you will believe as you behave. If you don't behave as you believe, you will believe as you behave." There are monsters and principalities and powers in this present darkness seducing people to be dissatisfied with who God created them to be, and they are having body parts cut off. Who are we to even suggest that God did it wrong in creating each one of us in the specific gender that we are? It's insane. What else is there to be lost in this throwaway culture? 20 years ago, same-sex marriage was an unthinkable oxymoron. Now, it is the law of our land. Let's go on a little history of the United States. In the United States, state legislators and federal law many, many years ago, with mostly Protestant lawmakers, passed laws against the sale or distribution of contraception. Why? Were they repressive and prudes? No. They did this because they recognized that this would open people to sexual immorality, and sexual immorality would lead to the breakdown of the family, and the breakdown of the family would be bad for society. So they put laws in place to stop this. In 1925, Gandhi, a Hindu, said if we start using artificial birth control, we are going to destroy the family. We are living in a world today where we have gender dysphoria, same-sex marriage, throwaway babies, throwaway body parts, and it did not happen overnight. There was a gradual misunderstanding of the dignity of our body and the dignity of our sexuality. In 1960, all the world thought that we were on the cusp of solving all the problems of society. The new invention of the birth control pill will bring about fewer children, smaller, happier families, no more abortions. And this was when abortion was still illegal and there were only back alley abortions. No more single mothers, no more divorce, because marriages will be happy. That is what was promised in 1960. Thankfully, Pope Paul VI responded to this in his encyclical, Humanae Vitae, where he said no to all of that. And he said, if contraception is widespread, we are going to have easy and worry-free access to relations, fewer children in marriage, marriages that are less stable and more self-centered. There will be an explosion in divorce, more immoral relations outside of marriage. The marriage bond will be weakened, widespread breakdown of the family. There will be a lowering of morality. There will be more unwanted pregnancies, and there will be more abortions, and the objectification of women will be rampant. Who was right? Which set of prophecies came true? You see, all of this was the building block that Satan used and put in place that has now led to such things as a complete homosexual lifestyle and other immoral things. The family is being destroyed. And if you don't behave as you believe, you will believe as you behave. Well, I believe that our bodies are sacred. I believe that the marital embrace is sacred and created by God to bring new life. And I believe that the cross that we see every time we walk into this church is there as a symbol of a husband laying down his life for his bride, all of us, the church. And I believe that God has called a husband and a wife together for two reasons. Number one, to bring new life in cooperation with God. And number two, to unite a couple. And when you take either one of those out of the picture, there is disorder, there is chaos in society. Can you see why we are living in a throwaway culture? The point is that the church teaches that couples have to be open to life. And now I tell you all of this because I see it as a call to conversion, a call to prayer, a call to seek and to knock, and to follow what the church has taught us, and to get us back to a culture of life. We did not get in this mess overnight, and it was not by accident, because we have an enemy, and he has a plan, and we've been sleeping at the wheel. Before COVID, in 2019, for the first time since the Spanish flu in 1917, we had a decline in life expectancy in the United States. And do you know what the driving force was for the decline in life expectancy in the United States? They called it deaths of despair. Deaths of despair. Suicide, cirrhosis of the liver, and drug overdose. You see, we have been disconnected from God and disconnected from one another, and we have forgotten the sacredness of our body and the sanctity and the dignity of life, and we are living in a throwaway culture. The prophet Ezekiel said this at the end of the first reading, and he's spot on. He said, "But if he turns away from the wickedness he has committed and does what is right and just, he shall preserve his life. Since he has turned away from all the sins that he has committed, he shall surely live. He shall not die." My brothers and sisters, God is calling us out of a throwaway culture into a respect for life culture.